Hello, my name is Ali Carter. I am the founder of Mediate UK, and today I'm going to give you a little talk about a measure order. So, what is a measure order? Well, it is an order that can only be got as part of a divorce and as part of a consent order for that divorce. And the measure order allows you to retain an interest in a property where your ex is still living, and you agree for it to be sold at a later date, and you will maintain usually a percentage share or a share in that property. So when do you do a measure order? Well, it's usually done when you want the children to stay in the current family home, where it's not going to be possible to downsize. You can't both buy a property. You can still only buy one with the assets that you have available, or the incomes and mortgage capacity that you have available. So what one person might do is decide to move out and rent somewhere, and whilst they're renting, they are retaining an interest in the property. So as property prices go up, they're usually retaining a share in that increased price, so that when the children no longer need to be housed, when they're 18, 21, whatever you agree the date should be, that the property can then be sold, you get your equity out, and you can then buy a place. But what you have done is prioritise your children in your agreement to make sure that they're housed whilst they are children. So that's the usual situation with a measure order. You can only get one on a divorce with a consent order. You don't need a separate document, but the measure order will be written into your consent order. So if you are getting one, just check with your solicitor, because they may charge additional fees to include that. What do you need to do if you're looking at a measure order? Well, anyone is going to tell you to do two things, or anyone worth their salt should tell you to do two things. One is get legal advice on it, because it is a complicated matter of law. You're going to have it made legally binding. It's going to provide an ongoing financial relationship with your ex, because you have a property together. And you should also, separately to taking legal advice, take your own tax advice on the matter. Speak to a financial advisor who specialises in tax advice for this. Because if you were to buy somewhere else, when your funds are released from the property with the measure order on, you could be taxed as a second property on that, and it can take a big hit on what you were expecting to get out of that property. So there are implications. If you are looking at a measure order, you need to agree who's going to pay the mortgage. You need to agree who's going to pay upkeep for the house, because obviously you still have an invested interest in it. If if a boiler blows up, that's going to impact on the amount of money that you get when it is sold. You're going to need to agree what are the factors, what are the trigger events for the property to be sold, for the measure order to come into effect. This would normally be when your children are either 18, or if you wish, when they're 21, or when they finished tertiary education, i.e. university, maybe some other date by agreement. There may be a trigger factor, such as if your partner remarries and moves someone into the house. That could be a trigger in which for the house to be sold. Or of course, if you just both agree that actually 5 years down you want to sell the house and sort it out, you can do that by agreement as well. So the measure order is there to protect you. There are disadvantages. You are still going to remain, usually if there's a mortgage on the house, on that mortgage. Even if you agree through the consent order that your ex will be paying for the mortgage company can still come after you. It's a separate agreement, that's civil law. It's a contract where you've signed up for that mortgage. So you are going to find it difficult to buy a second property, and if you are, it will be treated as a second mortgage. They will still view that you have that mortgage on the original property. So again, legal advice, financial advice, but the reason that people do it is it allows them to prioritise their children if they can't sell the house and fund two properties themselves. So have a look through this blog. It covers off some examples, real life examples of a measure order. It covers off a little bit more about the implications, but it is one of 10 options that you have to resolve a dispute on a property as part of a divorce or separation. I'm not going to go through the other 10, but if you search in our search bar on our website, mediateuk.co.uk, search 10 options, is going to come up with 10 options for the property, and you can go through those with your ex and hopefully reach an agreement. If not, you can use family mediation. Whatever happens, I wish you all the best in resolving your property dispute. Many thanks.